should have to win the next election. And Harry Reid calls up and says, I've got some great advice for what y'all need to change to become a majority party. Now that'd be like us calling Coach Saban and saying, we've got some great advice for Alabama's starting line. He'd be right to be a little skeptical. I'm a little skeptical when all of our newfound friends are calling us and telling us we got some great advice for the Republican Party, for the conservative movement. Well, I'm here to tell you we don't need two liberal parties in America. We don't need to abandon our principles to become relevant and to win elections in this country. America needs a conservative, principled movement. I think now more than ever, the American people are crying out for those who will stand up and defend freedom and liberty, and that brings me to an election I think is very, very important. In addition to my job as governor of the great state of Louisiana, I'm privileged to serve as chairman of the Republican Governors Association. And we've got 30 great governors involved in this. We've got a couple of elections this year in New Jersey and Virginia. New Jersey, the Republican incumbent is fairly far ahead. I want to talk about the race in Virginia. We've got a very close race. Ken Cuccinelli, many of you know Ken. Ken is a reformer. He's been the Attorney General. And he's getting all kinds of free advice now from folks that aren't his friends. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to elect another great conservative Republican governor in Virginia. It's another great opportunity to send a message to the rest of the country ahead of 2014, ahead of 2016, that conservative reformers, conservative principles work. But I want to do something a little unusual. I'm the head of the RGA, but I really do want, and I'm serious about this, I want to thank our Democratic colleagues for nominating Terry McAuliffe. Let's give them a round of applause. Them, but the reality is this is the greatest gift they could have given us in this election. There is no greater contrast between these two men. Look, Terry McAuliffe is too radical, too liberal to be governor of the state of Virginia. He has, in the past, talked about getting rid of the coal industry. He has talked about the fact that he thought Obamacare didn't go far enough, but it's worse than that. That alone is enough to disqualify him. But Terry's got a little problem with the truth. I mean, let's look at his record. He started off saying that he was going to create this car company in Virginia and only went to Mississippi because the folks in Virginia didn't want him. Great story, except it turns out it wasn't true. Said he was going to bring 5,000 jobs to America. Great story. Turns out it wasn't true. Said he was going to buy a company and move a company from China to America. Great story. Turns out it wasn't true. Said that he was this great businessman and started 5 businesses that created all these jobs. Again, great story. Turns out it wasn't true. He said he had started this wood pellet company. It was going to create all these jobs, again, here in America. And again, I think you know where I'm going. Great story. Turns out it wasn't true. Well, maybe you saw the news today. You know, maybe the biggest challenge to this crony capitalist. And remember, he has said the reason elected governor has been his great success in the private sector, in private industry. He has cited Green Tech, this car company, as an example of what he's been able to do and what he would like to do as governor for the state of Virginia. God help the people of Virginia if that's a prediction of how he would go if he would win that election. Just today, the SEC came out and said they were investigating Green Tech. Now, just to tell you a little bit about Green Tech, this is the company where I just want to share with you, I just want to quote for you. The administration in Virginia, when they were looking into Green Tech and their application, their desire to be in Virginia, said, we need to be careful about this. Because this could be a visa for sale scheme with national security implications. And that was from a Democratic administration in Virginia. This is a scandal that's got potential homeland security connections. It's got connections to Chinese and their buying of a waiver program. It's got all kinds of potential implications. And I know the SEC just announced today they were looking into this. So I can't think of a greater contrast. You've got Ken Cuccinelli, a husband, a father, an attorney general, somebody who stood proudly for conservative principles. And this is what impresses me about Ken the most. We live in an era of politicians who stick their finger up in the wind and see which way the wind is blowing. And they decide to figure out their positions based on what they think people want. We got a saying for those kinds of politicians in Louisiana. When they see a mob marching on City Hall, they get in front of it and they call it a parade. Ken's not that kind of leader. And when it's popular, when it's unpopular, in good times and bad, he stood for conservative principles. He'll be a great governor for the state of Virginia. Certainly a contrast to the ethically challenged crony capitalist in Terry McAuliffe. But here's why I want to close with this election. This is a critical moment. 4 years ago, we elected Republican governors in Virginia and New Jersey. It sparked really a revolution. And the next year, we took over the House, and we won several governor's races that next year. I think this election in 13 can do the same thing for the elections in 14. So there are a lot of people telling you, let's look forward to the midterm elections. Let's take back the Senate. Let's take back the White House. We need to do those things. But let's start. Let's start by electing Ken Cuccinelli, and let's start by sending a loud message to the rest of the country.